Alright everyone, here's the second part of your assignment. Before we get to the calendar and I show you the shortcuts in order to create that, we need to take a step back and learn some very basic things about how Excel works. And this worksheet is going to help you do that. The first thing you want to do is go to class main document again, click on L1.3, the worksheet L1.3. Actually, don't click on it. Use your ctrl+shift, page up, page down to scroll to it. So if you were here or if you're at L1.2 like me, you want to ctrl+shift to L1.3. And as you can see, I've added something new at the bottom here. This is basically recording all the key strokes that I'm doing to help you guys figure out what I'm actually pressing. So let's start up here at cell C3. Use your arrow key to navigate up there. And this is what you're going to do. Actually, I'm sorry. First, you want to click on L1.3 and duplicate. This time you're not creating a new sheet, you're actually duplicating L1.3. Then you're going to rename it, and guess what you're going to do? L1.3 and put your name on it, just like all the other assignments that we're going to do. As you can see, we're creating a pattern here. Okay, now using your favorite, your best friends, the arrow keys, navigate to cell C3 and let's move along here. The spreadsheet acts much like a calculator, except it's way more advanced than a calculator, but it can do all the simple things that a calculator usually does. If you wanted to add 2 plus 3, for example, in a calculator, you would press the number 2, then the plus sign, then 3, then equal. Well, it's a bit different in spreadsheets. The spreadsheet has to recognize that you're about to enter a formula, and in order to do that, well, let's do this. Let's type in the regular way that you would do it on a calculator. Type in 2 plus 3 and then press equal. Then press enter. Remember, every time you're done with a cell, you press enter. So press enter and see what happens. Well, this is kind of interesting because you're able to see what you actually typed in. But obviously we were actually trying to calculate 2 plus 3 and get the answer. So let's try it again. Navigate to cell C3 again. Now press equal first. And by the way, I don't have to erase this first, because whatever I type in here is going to automatically write over whatever I put in there. So I'm going to press equal 2 plus 3, press enter, and voila, we see 5, right? Now here's what's better than a calculator. This is like a calculator in which you see the answer right here. But unlike a calculator, you get to trace whatever you've pressed in, and it shows up on this, what we call the formula bar up here. FX basically means formula, and anytime you want to see what's in a cell, just navigate to the cell and you'll see it up here. See that? 2 plus 3. Alright, let's move on. Pretty basic, I know, but don't worry, we're going to use this later on. Let's add 2 and 3 a different way. This is another way that this is way better than a calculator. So type in 2 here, press enter. Now type 3 here and press enter. Now we're going to add 2 and 3, but we're going to do it a different way. We're going to press the equal sign, then press the arrow key, the up arrow key twice. 1, 2. Notice how there's a dotted line around this cell, which basically selects it, and it says F2 right there, so that you know that what it's doing is it's grabbing whatever is in cell F2. Now what would be the next thing that you press? Just like in 2 plus 3, you would press the plus sign. So do that. Plus. Now you want to add this cell. So what do? How do you get to that cell? Well, you use the up arrow key again. Actually, you got to press it downward, because the cursor will already be on F2, so you're going to actually press it downward. so that F3 is selected. So now you see in your formula that you're adding F2 plus F3. But you're not adding the text F2 or the text F3. It's recognizing whatever data is actually in F2 and F3, and it's going to add it. So you get the same results that you did here, 5. But this time around, you get to actually see, without having to click into the cell, you get to see exactly what you've done here. You've taken 2, you plugged 3, and then you've added, and you've gotten 5. Same thing here. What would you do to multiply these two? You type a 2 here, type a 3 here, but here, instead of adding F2 and F3, you're going to multiply it. It's pretty much the same logic, except instead of the plus sign, you need to use a multiple sign. But for computers, the multiple sign is actually the asterisk, or the star. So that's what I'm going to put. Equal, up arrow twice, selecting I2. Then instead of the plus sign, I'm going to press the asterisk, or that little star sign. Then I'm going to down arrow once to I3, and then press enter. And you get 6 instead of 5. Got that? You can press pause and try it out a couple of times, but this is a very basic, very fundamental thing that you need to learn about Excel. I'm going to move on. Let's move down here. Let's try this, what you did up above in adding 2 plus 3, except now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different numbers. What would you normally do? Well, you do this. Equal this plus this plus this plus this plus this. Now, again, I'm just using my arrow keys. As you can see down here, you can follow along. So I have 5 numbers here, and I press enter, and I get my answer. That was kind of easy, but the beauty about spreadsheets is that any type of repetitive process that you've done here can be really simplified and save you a ton of time. You only added 5 cells here, but imagine like 5,000 cells. It would take you all day to do that, and it would be really messy, and you might slip and hit the wrong button, and it'd be really hard. Well, here's where we're going to introduce you to a formula. And we're going a bit ahead of ourselves here, but I just want to show you this so that you get a sense of the potential of spreadsheets. Here we're going to add these 5 numbers. We're going to add these 5 numbers again, but this time we're going to use a formula. Press equal, press sum, which basically says that you're summing a bunch of numbers. Press an open parentheses. Now you need to select the 5 cells above. How do you do that? Well, press the up arrow once. Now I want to select the next 4 cells upward. Does this situation look familiar to you? It should. What did you learn in class on Thursday if you wanted to select all the numbers at once? Think about it for a second. That's right. You would press Shift and Control down, hold it down, as you can see right here. Oops, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hold down. Okay. I'm going to start over because I'm having a little technical difficulty. Okay. So I'm going to press equal sum, open parentheses, arrow up once. Hold down, Shift and Control, arrow up another time. Let go. You've selected everything. Remember that? You learned that in class last time. Now close the parentheses. Shift, close parentheses, enter. See how you got the same number here, except it was a lot faster. Now I took my time, but you guys need to get to a point where you can do this, and I'll do it over again at the speed that I would normally do it. See how much faster that is than doing this? You didn't save that much time because there's only 5 numbers, but imagine if there were like 10,000 numbers, which can easily happen when you guys are working with science or math class or any type of research. Okay, so we've learned how to add cells to each other here. Now let's take it up a notch and let's go back to the calendar that we had created. So using Ctrl+Shift and page up, page down, scroll to the worksheet, your worksheet. I'm in mine, you'll be in yours. And we're going to recreate what we did last time using keyboard shortcuts. So let's start all over. I'm going to erase this and let's start all over. First, you're going to have to put in today's date. There's really no getting around that. But go to D2, and instead of typing 7/18/2012, you're going to start a formula, which means what? If you wanted to put a formula in here, what's the first key that you need to put in? Equal. And if I'm going to add something to cell C2, what do? I need to navigate to cell C2. So I'm going to press the left arrow once, selecting C2. Then I'm going to add something, and here's a trick, and I'll explain what's happening afterwards. Press the plus button, press 1. What do you think is going to happen before I press enter? I've taken this day, 7/17, and I've added 1. What does 1 stand for here? I don't know. Let's check it out. Press enter. Well, guess what happened? I've added 1 day to cell C2. Now think about that for a second. Now think about what you need to put in this cell to do exactly what you've done before. What would you put here? If you wanted to add 1 more day, which cell would you select first? Well, you select D. So let's do that again. Equal. Left arrow, D. Plus 1. Enter. 7/19. See how that works? But what did we do in cell D2 and E2 here? We did the exact same thing. Anytime I ask you to do something that seems repetitive, you immediately should think about, hey, there's got to be a shortcut to do this. I don't want to do this over and over again. It just doesn't make sense, right? You're going to have to go all the way to column T. What is this familiar to? If I wanted to copy paste this all the way to the end of the cell, well, the same thing you learned Thursday. So you're going to ctrl+C to copy this, hold down shift and control, right arrow, let go, ctrl+V. See how that worked? And if you need to repeat this, pause this video and do it on your own. But this is a type of logic, computer logic, that you guys really need to learn, because it's gonna come up over and over again. Okay? Scroll through these cells and look at the formula bar up here and figure out what's going on here. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I start at 6 a.m. Same thing here. What do I need to do in order to increase this by 1 hour? Think about it for a second. And let me try. This may be your first reaction. Press equal, up arrow, select it, add what? What do I add here? 1? I don't know. Let's try 1. What happened there? Why is that 30? Why isn't that 7? Well, what happens when you take 30 minus 6? What's the difference between 30 and 6? It's 24. What is 24 usually related to? Well, it's related to 24 hours in 1 day. Of course it's going to be 24 hours later, because I've only added I've added 1 day to it. But I want to add 1 hour to it. So, easy way is, instead of adding, so let's delete that, and let's put in what it should be. Equal B3 plus what? Well, if 1 equals 1 day, what does 1 hour equal? There's many answers to that. It's simple algebra, but I'm going to use 1 divided by 24. So it's 1 hour. Got it? And it doesn't just have to be 1 hour. If you wanted 10-minute increments, you could figure out the formula for that and do the same thing. Let's keep it simple and say 1 hour. Now I'm going to do what I did last time. I'm going to ctrl+C, copy that, and I'm going to press shift down. I don't want to go to the end of the cell, under the end of the spreadsheet. So instead I'm going to hold down shift and press page down. And it'll probably skip, I think, 24 cells or something like that. 33, goes to 33. Ctrl+V, and we're pretty much done. So that's a really easy way to create a calendar. And so That's your second part of the assignment. You only need to go this far. I want you to